Hey there, everybody, and welcome. Today, I am going to be playing a solo playthrough of Trismegistus, a game that's been around now for several months. I was, I guess, late to the party. I received it as a gift. I didn't actually buy it for myself, but I have taken the liberty to program it the way I have programmed lots of other games. And it does play solo using the official solo rules that are in the back of the rule book. Described in the back of the solo rules are ways to make the solo player stronger. And I have built those into my program. I am not going to enable any of them today because, honest to God, while I have tested my program to the best of my ability to make sure it's right and that there are no logic errors and that I'm following the rules correctly, I have not played the game because of the situation with the coronavirus, and hopefully all of you are staying home and doing well. I haven't been playing games, so I have not played this game at all. And I haven't, and frankly, this is going to be my first complete solo playthrough. I've watched a couple playthroughs online, but this is my first time playing myself. So number one, don't expect me to be especially good. I don't expect to get a very good score. But having said that, having heard that the bot, unless you juice it up a little bit, I'm probably going to be able to beat it anyway. And I am not going to enable any of these changes today. But don't complain about, oh my God, you're such a bad player. Of course I am. I'm just playing this the first time. For those of you watching who will subscribe to my channel and like to see the programs I've developed, but are not familiar with the game, this is not going to be an exhaustive tutorial, but I will give you an idea of what's going on. So just a general overview, but not in such detail that it sort of makes the video go on too long. As you know, I like to keep my videos moving along as quickly as possible, so I'm not going to be thinking too long or hard about what decisions I'm going to be making. I will at least give you an idea of what I'm thinking about when I'm making a decision. And I'll explain how the bot solo version works. For those of you who are familiar with the game, if you do see the bot do something that's not correct, or if it looks like there's a bug in my program and I'm just overlooking it because I misunderstood something in the rules, please by all means mention that in the comments. Okay, enough talking. Let's get underway. And as I said, I'll just try to explain things as I go along. So this looks overly complicated, but don't worry yet. For the time being, I am going to pick, where I am right now is just choosing a starting experiment, a starting masterpiece experiment, a starting publication, and a starting artifact. And I get to choose which player board I want to play with. So I've got choice of one of these two, or one of these two, one of these two, one of these two, and one of those five. I'm going to take a quick look at the board. It'll be easier for me to explain why I did what I did a little after the fact. So for now, I think this is going to be my starting experiment. So I'm going to click this, which means that'll go away. And I display my experiments over here on the right in a very simple, it needs to be 2 steps up on the blue track, and I need these 2 elements or materials in order to fulfill this experiment. When I hover over it, I get a pop-up of the actual card, so I can see what the actual card looks like and see the rewards I get and the points I'll get at the end of the game by completing this experiment. But in order to complete the experiment, I need to meet these objectives, which I'll talk about further as we go. Now, the masterpiece experiment is simply a much fancier version of my first starting experiment. You can see I need 2 materials and step 2 on the water track or the blue track. These masterpiece experiments, you can see, require the 11th step on a track. There's basically 4 tracks: the water track, the fire track, the earth track, and the air track. The 4 general elements or spirits, if you will. For my masterpiece experiment, I think I'll go with this one. For my starting publication, and by the way, the publication is a way to score endgame points. They're called publications. 3 points for every Earth experiment completed. 2 points for every Earth and or water symbol on artifacts you have. I think I'll go with this one. For my starting artifact, and again, I'll explain what an artifact is soon enough, I think I'm going to go with this one and place it here. And again, soon enough, I'll explain why I did what I did and what all those things mean. And then finally, for the alchemist I want to portray, because there are 5 player boards in the game. They're all slightly different with regard to the bonuses you get. I programmed them, but I don't know really which one. Let's just go with Isaac Newton to keep this moving along. Okay, so the first thing I have to do, because I don't have a die, I have not yet selected a die, and once I select a die, it's going to go on this track here over on my player board. The first thing I have to do is select a die. And now a die has 3 aspects to it. There's the die face, and each face represents a base type of material in the game. So let me quickly start by explaining what the 11 materials are on my player board. Over here I have raw lead. Raw materials are always indicated by a circle. So I have raw lead, and I start the game with 1 raw lead. Then I have copper, tin, mercury, and iron, a raw component as well as a refined bowl, if you will, where I can store refined components of those materials. So raw, all the raw stuff is down here on the bottom. These are circles, notice, and then refined materials are in squares. So I start the game with a raw lead, a raw copper, a raw tin, and a raw mercury. And then finally I've got two more refined materials that don't have their raw counterparts, and that is silver and gold. Gold in the game is wild and can stand in for any other material. Silver, in some aspects, in some respects, is wild as well, but I will explain how that's used later when I'm trying to complete my experiments. Once you take a die, you've got a bunch of different actions you could choose. One, you could get more raw materials corresponding to the face of the die. So if I take a lead die, I can harvest more lead. If I have a copper face on my die, then I can harvest copper using some of the power of that die. Similarly, if it has a tin face, I can harvest tin, harvest mercury, harvest iron, and so forth. The middle bowl, by the way, is wild, so you can take that and then change it to whatever face you want before you start taking your actions. So the first action is just to harvest raw material that corresponds to the face of the die that you chose. The second thing you can do is transmute. And you transmute by taking any material other than gold, because gold is the ultimate in what you're trying to transmute into, or at least as an alchemist. Famed alchemists in the world always wanted to try to get something into gold. So that's the end product. But otherwise, you can transmute using the actions of your die along an arrow that matches the color of your die. So if I take a black die, I can transmute lead into copper or transmute copper into tin because these arrows are black. If I take a white die, I can transmute tin into mercury or mercury into iron because these arrows or pathways are white. They may look a little gray to you, but for all intents and purposes, they're white. And then finally, if I take a red die, I can transmute iron into silver or silver into gold, again, assuming I have all of the appropriate materials to transmute. The third action I can take is I can acquire essence. Now, in order to transmute, you need an essence. You need to spend an essence, and the essences are tied to the tracks. Randomly, at the start of the game, 4 different tokens were chosen by my program, and in this game, ether corresponds to the earth track. Salt, which is this essence, this is the symbol in this game for salt, and that's the symbol for ether. Salt in this game corresponds to the fire track. Sulfur, which goes by a triangle, corresponds to the water track, and mercury, which is both a material and an essence in this game, corresponds to the air track. Okay, I start the game with, as I said, 1 lead, 1 copper, 1 tin, and 1 mercury, which is effectively 1 material of mercury which I could transmute, or 1 essence of mercury which I could use to transmute something else. And I also start with one each of the other essences as well: 1 salt, 1 sulfur, 1 ether. And you notice my program colors these boxes corresponding to the tracks that they happen to fall on. Harvesting material, transmuting a material, taking an essence. Oh, now which essence can you take depends on, again, the face of the die. If you take a lead die, you can acquire 1 or more essences of salt. If you take a copper die, you can get ether. If you take a tin die, you can get sulfur. If you take a mercury die, well, you can harvest mercury, which is the same as acquiring more mercury essence, because they're one and the same. And finally, if you take an iron-faced die, then you can actually acquire any of the 4 of the essences. So in that sense, iron is kind of a wild when it comes to choosing an essence. So one more time: harvest materials, transmute, acquire an essence. You could acquire an artifact. So more of these artifacts, just like the starting one I got, which fill these slots in your player board, because they activate when you transmute. So for example, because this experiment, notice, requires an iron, one of the things I'm going to want to do is transmute mercury into iron. When I do that and it crosses this threshold, I'll activate this artifact, and I'll gain what's called 2 ethereal die tokens, which I can spend to increase the power or potency of my die. You'd spend 3 of your potency to acquire an artifact, but the artifact has to come from a place in the market that matches the color of your die. So if I have a red die, I can take one of these 2 artifacts. A white die, I can take one of these 2. Or a black die, I can take one of these 2. As far as actions are concerned, the only 2 I missed were recharging any artifact, because once you activate an artifact, it flips over, and you can't use it again unless you recharge it. So you can always spend potency or power of your die to recharge any of your artifacts. Doesn't matter what the face or the color is of the die. And the last thing you can do is acquire an experiment. But the experiment does have to correspond to the face of the die. So if I have a lead die, I can take an experiment that's up in here. If I have a copper die, I can take this one, and so forth. The last factor is the potency of the die, how powerful it is. And that's determined by the number of dice in the bowl that I'm taking the die from. So obviously, I'm going to want to take one of these 5 dice, because it'll start with a potency of 5. Fortunately, I've got a choice of black, white, or red. Now, I know I need a white die if I want to transmute mercury into iron. So in choosing the color of the die, not only do I want to take into account the fact that I want to transmute mercury into iron, I have to think about what essences I might need or want, and I might want to look at what artifacts are available. These are the early types of artifacts, of round 1 artifacts. They get better as the game progresses. None of those, some of them are all right, but nothing to cause me to do one thing versus another. I think I'm just going to go with a white mercury and make this nice and easy. And my first action, as I said, is going to transmute raw mercury into refined iron. And I have to choose an essence. Now, I can't choose mercury because I only have one mercury, and that's the item that I'm transmuting. So the essence I choose is going to cause me to go one step up on one of these 4 tracks. You notice that Trismegistus, she started on step 1 of the earth track and step 1 of the fire track. Well, I know that I want to get up on the air track. I need to get to step 11 to complete my masterpiece. I need to get to step 2 to get this experiment completed, and this is the one sort of that I have to focus on first. So in that case, I think I am going to use sulfur to go a step up on the water track. That will also activate this artifact, which gives me 2 ethereal die tokens, which I can use in the future when I draft a new die. As long as it doesn't have a potency of 5, I can use one of these to increase the potency of the die that I do draft by 1. So having those are going to pay off. Now you'll notice, of course, this has now flipped. So for the moment, until I recharge it, I can't make use of it again. The only thing now, I've already transmuted 1 unit of mercury into iron. I could continue to transmute along either one of these 2 lines, but I have no raw mercury or any more or any refined mercury, so I'm pretty much done for my turn. So I will end my turn. And then now Trismegistus, she's going to take her turn. Now I'm playing with a variant described in the rules that reveals 2 of her cards, 2 of her automa cards, so I have some idea of what she's probably going to do next. For purposes of this video, I probably won't be taking advantage of that very much. Right now, since I've already clicked end turn and finished my turn, she is telling me that she is going to use this automa card for her turn, which tells me that she is looking to draft a black copper die or a black lead die, whichever has the most potency, though she will go with a wild die if she can get just as much potency that way. Well, lead, copper, wild, black, she can certainly take a black wild, and that's going to be her preference because it's the same potency. So she'll take a black wild, and she's going to convert it into a black copper since she's giving preference to copper. Then she's going to spend 1 of her potency. So she's going to get 2 potency out of that, but she will use her ethereal die token that she started with, which is tracked here on her card, tracker card. She'll spend that to get the potency up to 3. Then she'll spend 1 of that potency to acquire an experiment. Now, when she tries to complete experiments, she doesn't have to collect the materials. She just has to be that high up on the track. So when she goes to acquire an experiment, assuming I'm correct and she's going to end up with a black copper, she's going to take this experiment, ignore the materials. She just has to be on step 2 of the water track. Now, she's currently on the 0 step of the water track, but she also has the option to spend gold to make up the gap. And she started the game with 2 gold, which is exactly what she needs to complete her first experiment. So her first turn is going to be to take a wild black die, I think, turn it into a wild copper, bump up the potency to 3, spend 1 of that potency, acquire an experiment, this one, which happens to be experiment E103, and then she's going to complete it immediately by spending her gold. So she'll end up with no gold and no ethereal die tokens. Okay, after all that, she did take it, she did change it into copper, she's spending the potency, she took E103 and she completed it, and now she has no gold and no ethereal die tokens left, at least for the time being. When she's done with her turn, I can spend 1 of my reaction tokens, I start the game with 2, to do a modest version of all the actions based on her die. So since she took a black copper, I can flip a reaction token to harvest 1 raw copper, acquire 1 ether, which happens to be the essence course that corresponds to copper. I could transmute one material along a black arrow because the dye that she acquired was black, or I could recharge an artifact. Trismegistus never reacts to my actions. She, as part of the solo rule, she doesn't, sorry about that, she doesn't care to react at all to anything I do, but I do still get the option to react to her, and in a normal multiplayer game, everybody would have a chance to react to their opponent's turns. For my reaction, I think I will go ahead and recharge this artifact. Okay, now it's my turn. Well, I know I want to get up on the water track, but I have no easy way of doing that right now because I have no more sulfur. Mercury's all right too, because I need to get up on the air track for purposes of my masterpiece experiment. So I think I will go ahead and harvest some raw mercury. And I can do that. I could harvest 1 mercury for each potency I want to spend. I've got 4 potency. And I think I'll go ahead and spend 2, 3. Let's just go with 3 and leave 1 more action that I can take with this die before I have to take another die. Okay, so now I'm going to end my turn, and Trismegistus is now going to ignore the top of these cards because she has a die that she's using. So what is she going to do? She's going with this card. She's going to spend 1 essence and take a gold. So she has 1 essence left on this die, 1 potency left on that die. I can react to it. This would be my last reaction unless I find a way to refresh my reaction tokens. I think I am not going to react at this point. So I will not react. And now I think I will one more time get the benefit of this and stock up on ethereal die tokens. I can either use them to increase the potency of the dice that I draft, or they're also worth 1 point at the end of the game. So this will turn out to be a valuable artifact for me. So I'm going to spend 1 more potency to do this artifact. This time I'm going to use, I do have mercury, so I can use mercury, so I'll use another level, a unit of mercury, so now I'm going to be down to 1 mercury, but I'll get 1 step up on the air track, and of course I'll get 2 more ethereal die tokens, now up to 4, and now my die's exhausted and it's going to end up over here. My program will take care of that. Okay, Trismegistus' turn. She is going with this Automa card. She still has a die in progress. It has 1 potency left. She doesn't care. She'll spend 2 or 3 potency, doesn't matter, to exhaust the die, and now she is going to get 2 steps up on the air track. So she now takes a step ahead of me, and now I can use my last reaction token if I want to react to her, and I am not going to do that. So now I have to draft my second of 3 dice for this round. The game is played over 3 rounds, 3 dice per round. Well, I guess I'm going back to Mercury, and I do have a choice of red, white, or black. Something, let me look at the artifacts again. So this gives me any essence, and I can convert 1 raw material into another raw material. This gives me a lead and a tin, a refined tin. Ooh, that's actually not bad. This take twice exchange 1 raw material for a refined material of the same type. So it basically converts, say, raw mercury into refined mercury, or raw tin into refined tin. This advances on the fire track and gives you an ethereal die token and a point. This one gives you a bump on any track and another raw mercury. And finally, this one lets you spend a raw mercury in order to get 1 of each of the other 3 essences. Of those, I think I like this one the best, so I'm going to go with a red die. And I'm going to use one of my four now ethereal die tokens and make that a potency of 5 instead of 4. And I am going to go ahead and acquire this artifact. And probably the best place for me to put it is in this slot here. Now, as I buy these artifacts, I'm already collecting symbols which I need for my publication. To go back to my publication, remember I need 2 air symbols and a fire symbol in order to fulfill this publication at the end of the game. You collect symbols by purchasing artifacts. So far I've gotten an earth symbol from this and a fire symbol from this. And my program tracks those symbols up here. So far I have 1 each of earth and fire. You also get symbols when you complete experiments based on the type of experiment it is. So if I complete this experiment, for instance, I'll get 1 more earth symbol, for instance, because it's an earth card. This will give me 1 more air symbol if I completed it. This is going to give me a water symbol. This one was going to give me an air symbol. And then lastly, you get 1 extra symbol if you get to the top of each or any of these tracks. So if I get to the top of this track, I'll get another earth symbol. Here I'll get another fire symbol, and so forth. And as well as points. 2 points for reaching level 10, 4 points for reaching level 11, step 11, and finally 7 points for reaching the 12th step. Okay, so with that exposition out of the way, when I acquire an artifact, you get to resolve it immediately, which my program has already done. So I already got a lead and a refined iron, and that doesn't cause the artifact to flip. So I'm basically getting 2 activations of that artifact for the price of 1. Anytime you acquire an artifact, it doesn't apply to your first starting artifact. Okay, given that, my turn is now over. Turn it back over to Trismegistus. She is going to use this automa card. She does need a die now, so she's looking for either a red lead or red iron. She's going to go with red iron because that's where the most potency is. So that's what she's going to take. And then she's going to spend 1 potency to go 2 steps up on the earth track. And there she goes. And again, I have a chance to react. And I will react this time, and I will take a sulfur because she has an iron die, which gives me a choice of all 4 of the essences, and I know I need to get 1 more step up on the water track, so I'll take a sulfur. So I have what I need I need 1 more step on the water track. So by doing 1 more transmutation, I'll get what I need. So I'm going to transmute iron into silver because I have a red die, and I'm going across this red track. Of course, I'm going to spend sulfur in order to get a step up to, wait a second. Yeah, get to step 2 of the water track. And that sound means I can now complete this experiment. My program reminds me of that. So I'm going to go ahead and complete this experiment. That's going to give me a step up on any track, a step up on the water track in any order. I can decide to resolve those, and I'll get 3 points at the end of the game. So I pay a lead, I pay an iron. I will advance 1 step on the water track. And for my other advance, I'm going to also advance on the water track because when I reach this bonus, I'm going to get a chameleon token. There are bonuses along all the steps of track 4 and track 8. There are similar types of bonuses. There's only 3 of them that they can possibly be. A chameleon token it can be spent anytime you want to temporarily change the die face or color of or both of your die, of your current die, so that you could temporarily make a change to do some other kind of action that you otherwise wouldn't be able to do. So I'm going to go one more step up on the water track to take advantage of that. Now, because this is the first experiment that I completed in water, I get to take one of these formula tiles. There's 2 assigned to each, and the set of tiles corresponds to the tiles that are available for Isaac Newton. So each of the 5 different alchemists have a somewhat different set of 8 different formula tiles. I'm going to take, since I already have a chameleon token, I'm going to take the gold formula, and now I'm going to place it in one of the 7 spaces of my vault. This is the theme behind all this is that we're trying to acquire the Philosopher's Stone, which is, I guess, the ultimate goal of any alchemist. But in the game, mechanism-wise, what you're trying to do is place these formula tiles, 7 of them in total, even though you've got 8 up here to choose from. And as you complete rows or columns, you'll get different benefits, as shown on either end of the row or the column. And those benefits vary for each of the 5 alchemists in the game as well. And then I'll also be able to use this formula tile once it's in my vault one time, and one time only, to get a gold. So that's kind of nice too. So anyhow, after all that, I think I'm going to place it up here. Okay, I could spend the gold right now, and actually for 1 gold I can buy another one of these tiles and place it in my vault. So essentially, when you complete the first experiment of each type, you get to take one of the tiles and place it in the vault. And you could also buy the other tiles. The first one costs 1 gold, the second 2 gold, the third 3 gold, and if you buy the 4th one, it's 4 gold. But so I could actually spend this gold to acquire 1 more tile and complete a row immediately. But I'll hold off for the moment on that and let Trismegistus take her turn. She's going to use this card. She still has this red iron die. She's going to use all of her potency 2 steps up on the fire track. She is here, okay. And now I have got 1 potency left on my red mercury die. I need another experiment. Let's see. I can take a mercury experiment. So this requires 3 steps up on the fire track, which I haven't made any move on yet. It requires a refined copper, which I have, and a refined mercury, which I don't, and a silver, which I have. This is actually probably a good one to take. I just need to start making progress on the fire track, which requires that I have salt. Okay, that costs me 1 potency, which drops my second die down to a potency of 0. Trismegistus' turn. She is using a special personality card whereby she's actually first going to recruit a die. She's looking to get a black tin. There is no tin. So what does she do in that case? I think she goes for whatever is the most potent, where she can get the most potency. She's probably going to take black mercury, I think. I think that's what her logic is. And then anyway, if she is behind on me on the earth track, she's not. She's ahead of me on the earth track. She is going to score 5 points and get 3 gold. That's my penalty for being way behind her on the earth track. But I can only focus on so many tracks. She took the wild, and turned it into tin. A human player would have gone for mercury, but she went for this. I hope that's correct. I hope I'm interpreting the rules correctly. Okay, I have to draft a die again. This is going to be my third die for the round. I am going to go for mercury, and let's see, now that I have this other experiment, I've got the silver, I need mercury, I've got the copper. I need to advance on a white track to get the tin into turning the tin into mercury, but more importantly than that, I need to get up a couple more steps on the fire track, 3 steps to be exact. Let's go with a red mercury. I will use an ethereal dye token to increase the potency to 4. And kind of running. If I want to get up on the fire track, this artifact would be helpful because it gives me a choice of 2 essences. I'm going to go ahead and take this artifact, and I'm going to put it in this slot because I've got a silver waiting here to transmute into gold. Because I've got a red dye, I can do a red transmutation. So that's going to go there. I do get a bonus use of the artifact, so I will get 2 essences right off the bat. And I definitely want a salt. Do I want another salt? I'm tempted, since I know I'm going to probably activate this again, I think I'll take a mercury, because I want to work on both of these tracks at the moment. The air track, which is my long-term goal, and the salt track, or the fire track, which is my short-term goal. So I'll take a mercury, and then go ahead and end my turn. Oh, what? Oh, she is done. She is going to be first. Because she finished first, she's going to be first in turn order for round 2. Her turn order marker has been moved into position. The quicker you finish, the earlier you will be in turn order for the next round. I've been going kind of slow. So I've got 1 more potency left on this die. This is the last die of the round. This is going to pretty much end the round. I think I will go ahead and transmute this silver, as I was planning, into gold. I will use salt to get up on the fire track. Resolving the artifact will give me 2 more artifacts, 2 more essences, and again I think I'll take a salt and a mercury, spread it around a little bit. With 1 gold, I can buy my first formula tile, so I can take any one of these. I can't buy 2 from a play. Remember, 1 of them has to come from the first completed experiment, but you can always buy 1 of the other pair by spending gold. So the first one, as I said, costs 1 gold, and I think I am going to go with these wild transmutations. And I'm going to go ahead and put that here, which will give me 2 more reaction tokens. I should have done this a while ago, but at least I'll have them ready for use for the next couple rounds. I'm just trying to rethink, do I want to go there or do I want to go here? Well, the refreshes don't help me, and the extra gold isn't going to really help me. Well, actually, if I go here and get another gold and then use this gold, I'll have 2 gold and can do this again. Oh man, too many choices. Well, let's start by putting the transmutations one here. Okay, that gets me 2 more reaction tokens. Well, let's actually use this. Yeah, let's make use of this. I know I need mercury up here. Yeah, it's going to be tin into mercury. So this is a wild transmutation. These could go across any color arrows, doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead with the transmutation of tin into mercury. I will use salt to get to where am I? Step 2 of the fire track. Okay, and now for my second transmutation, I'm going to need refined copper. I have the refined copper. I don't need refined tin for this, but I need refined tin up here. Not that I'm ready anywhere close to completing that, but I'll go ahead and do for my second transmutation. I probably keep using the word transformation. My apologies. I'm going to convert the raw copper into refined tin, and again, of course, I'm going to use salt, which will get me to step 3 of the fire track. Now I can complete this experiment, which is going to get me another bump on the fire track and another ethereal dye token. So I'll take the ethereal dye, and I'll take my advance on the fire track, which gets me another chameleon token. And again, now this token's going to go away, so the bot Magistus will never get the benefit of it. Oh, and because I completed the fire experiment, now I get to take this 2 silver formula tile and place it in my vault. Oh, wow. Okay, so that's going to go, should it go here? It's kind of wasteful if I go here. Though it will give me 2 gold that I could use to buy another tile. Oh, man. That seems to be the smart thing to do. Just wondering if that gold is going to come in handier for something else. It's such a waste to waste these 2 refreshes because the round's over at this point. So I'm getting nothing out of them. I'm just getting the gold, and I'll have 2 gold, which I can then spend to get essences. I'm going to wait until I can get better use of this. So I'm not going to go ahead and just go crazy spending gold. I'm just going to put this. I think I'm going to put it here for now. But I will go ahead and take the 2 silver immediately. And I think, that was a long turn. That turned out longer than I expected, but I got a lot accomplished. All of those being free actions. Completing experiments are free actions, by the way. Buying formula tiles are free actions. And what's the third free action? Buying a formula tile, completing an experiment, and flipping one of these formula tiles to get the benefit. Okay, anyway, that's the end of that. We're about to end the round. Level 2 experiments will get drawn. All of these will go away, and level 2 artifacts will get drawn. All of the artifacts on player boards flip. All of the reaction tokens flip. Bot Magistus is going to get 2 ethereal dye tokens for free. That's pretty much it. So, and of course the die get re-rolled one more time. So here we go, round 2. Bot Magistus, she is starting, as I said, because she finished first last time, and she is going to draft a red mercury or a red tin. Well, she's taking a wild because that has the most potency, and she'll turn it into a red mercury. She'll then spend she'll increase the potency by 1. She'll spend 2 of her potency to acquire an experiment. She is going to grab the one that she doesn't currently have the element of. She has a blue, a water. So of these 2, she'll take the one that has the most points. That's 7. That's worth 6. She's going to take that experiment. And that requires that she be on level 3 of the fire track, which she is, so she'll complete it immediately. A lot. She takes that, converts it into mercury, bumps up the potency, takes that experiment, and completes it. And now, with all my reaction tokens, I can very freely go ahead and react. And she took a red die, so I am going to react by activating this guy again and transmuting silver into gold. So now I'm not racing up the fire track anymore, and I don't have any salt anyway. I'll go back to the air track, which I need to get up on ultimately for my masterpiece experiment. Resolve the artifact. So for purposes of taking essences, I think I'm just going to go with 2 mercury at this point. Okay, and now it's my turn. First turn of round 2. Kind of thinking about what I was talking about before, which is to resolve this, get the gold. I'll have 2 gold now, and I can now get my second formula and complete a row or a column. I think that's too good to pass up. So I am going to go ahead and take this gold, which will flip that. Now that I have 2 gold, I can buy my second. That's what these markers are for, to remind you how much you have to spend for the next token that you're buying, the next formula that you're buying. I don't really... I could buy essences, or I can get refresh reactions. I've got a lot of reaction tokens. I think I'm going to take essences. I am going to take this one, I think. So that costs me 2 gold. It will cost me 2 gold. Now, do I want to complete this row or this column? This column gives me another publication and 2 more silver. This row gives me, well, refreshing reaction tokens is worthless, and 3 raw materials. I think this is more valuable to me right now. So I'm going to put it right in the center of the vault. Costs me 2 gold, but I get 2 silver out of it. And I get another publication. So I draw 2, in this case P1 and P7, and I keep 1. This one requires 3 earth symbols. I only have 1 earth symbol so far. And it gives me 2 points per air track. Now, these costs of these symbols are cumulative, so if this cost air symbols, and I wanted to complete both of these, I'd need the 2 air symbols for this, and whatever air symbols this one required. 2 points, is that per air symbol you have? And I have 1 so far. What's the other one? The other one is 1 point for every refined material you end the game with, and 1 point for every 2 raw materials you end the game with. That requires one of every, which I already have. So I think I'm going to discard this one and keep PO7. Okay, finally I'm ready to draft a die. It's definitely going to be a wild die. Do I want white or red? Let's take a look at the experiments and artifacts. So what do we have down here? 2 bumps on the air track and an essence of my choice. That's pretty good. A gold. Ooh, step back on 1 track to get 3 steps up on the same track or some other track. All the same. Ooh, I like the sound of that. An essence and a free wild transformation and 2 air symbols. Transmutation and 2 air symbols. I think I did it again. A free lead and a free silver. and 2 bumps on the fire track and 3 points. Whoa, there's a lot of good stuff there, but I think of all of it, I like the sound of this one the best. So I think I'm going to take a white wild die. Experiment-wise, I want to complete either an air, well, this is going to be an air experiment, so I'd like to complete an earth experiment. The only ones are in the copper area. So I'll go ahead and change this to a white copper. Leave my options open, and I will increase the potency from 3 or 4. Okay. So I think the first thing I want to do is get this artifact. I think it's definitely this one. Yeah, this is going to give me huge, boy, this could be really valuable, especially getting it early in round 2. So I'm going to take this one and I will slot it into, well, I could replace this artifact, but it's a little wasteful. I'm kind of tempted to put it here, even though I can't make use of it right away. I will get an immediate use of it. I am going to put it here, I think. So I do get immediate use of it, so I have to pick a track to step back on. I definitely want to go up on the air track, so I can't go down on the earth track, obviously. So it's either fire or water. I think I'll go back 1 step on the water track, and I'll go 3 steps up on the air track, which is going to get me a 4th step because of this bonus on any track of my choice, and it's probably going to be the air track. Yeah. So that's going to get me up to step 6. That was 4 steps just from that artifact, and that's going to pay off in spades. I just have to get more iron. Okay. Trismegistus' turn. She's using this card. She has a red die, so she's just going to spend 2 potency to take an artifact. And she gets points for the symbols on the artifacts that she acquires. So for each of these symbols, she's going to get 3 points, I think. So that's like 6 points so far for her. Again, I'm going to react. And because I can convert silver into gold, I'm going to reactivate this one. And now I'm still working with my white die. Oh, and I did get copper in order to consider getting an experiment. So which one of these makes the most sense for me? This is a level 1 experiment, which requires lead, tin, which I have, and mercury, which I don't. I have the lead. This one's more ambitious. Ooh, but it gives me a lot of raw materials to work with when I complete it. It requires a lead, which I have, a tin, a copper, which I don't, a tin, which I do, an iron, which I don't, and I have plenty of silver. Oh, in retrospect, I probably should have grabbed this one so I would have gotten the discount for the green. But anyway, I think I'm going to grab this experiment. And now I've got 2 I'm working toward again. Trismegistus is taking her turn. She is resolving this card. She is going to be spending 3 potency. Basically, she only has 1 left. And she's going to take a step up on her lowest track, which is the water track, and she's going to take a gold. Okay. And do I want to react? I think I do, and I'm going to react again by transmuting silver into gold. This time I'm going up on the air track ambitiously, so I'm spending mercury. And I'm going to get 2 more essences. And I think it's going to both be mercury. All for the purpose of getting up on the air track, and I'm a step away from getting another ethereal die token. It is my turn. I'm drafting a die. So it's either going to be mercury or iron. Iron gives me more flexibility when trying to acquire essences. I'm not looking for an experiment. Neither one of them is red, though. White iron makes the most sense. I'll take white iron. Get 3 potency. I'll bump up the potency by 1. This leaves me with 1 ethereal dye token after this. I'll have to get more by using this artifact, which I'm about to use, I think, in a second. Yep, I am going to go ahead and get my iron by transmuting this mercury. I am going to use mercury because I've got plenty of it to go up on the air track. That's going to get me another ethereal dye token. I'm getting 3 ethereal dye tokens out of it. 1 here and 2 more here. Wow. Do I want to transmute more mercury into iron? I think so. Too bad I'm not getting the benefit of this. But let's use another mercury for essence. Go up on the air track again. 2 steps away from where I need to be for that masterpiece experiment. I could activate this and grab 2 more mercury. Let's definitely take a mercury. And need ether to go up on the earth track. Yeah. Oh, I could complete, theoretically, my masterpiece right now. Now, the silver lets me discount the track requirement. So do I want to perform this now? I'd be spending my silver and my gold. So the silver, let's see how this works. So where am I short on this? I've got the lead. I don't have the tin. I don't have a copper. I have the tin. I have the iron, and I have the silver. So I'm only missing 1 thing, and I am too short on the track, aren't I? I'm on step 9. So the silver, 1 of the silver and 1 of the gold compensates for the 2, makes up for the 2. Oh, do I want to just get that done and out of the way? What does it give me again? 2 steps up on the air track again and another chameleon token. And I do need silver, but I've got iron, and I only need 1 iron, so I can always transmute that iron to get that other silver. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to use all my silver and my gold to get this masterpiece experiment done. So I gain a chameleon token, and I get 2 steps up on the air track, which gets me to the 11th step, which is where I would have had to be to complete that experiment anyway, but I completed the experiment first. So at the cost of spending all my silver and gold. But I think that will pay off in the long run. Oh, and I get to take one of these formulas, or which, let's see, I completed it. Oh, I'm taking this formula, which is the refresh 2 reaction tokens, and I'm putting it somewhere in my vault. And I guess it makes sense to, again, well, I almost want to wait before I go into the corner there. I don't know that I mean, I am going to need raw material, but I'm pretty close to, oh, darn it. I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to hold off on this benefit and just go for this. I don't know. That could have gone either way. Anyway, it's still my. I can still transmute more mercury into iron. I think I will, and I will use ether this time to start my movement up on the Earth track, which I need to get to step 5 of for this experiment. And I can refine one more mercury and spend one more ether. This would be my last essence. What the heck? Okay, so I'm at step 2 of the earth track, but I'm completely out of essence. None of these, none of these. And I don't see any immediate way of acquiring it other than by using dice. So that's probably going to dictate what die I take next. Anyway, that was another long turn. I think it's time to turn it over to Trismegistus. Okay, she's using this card. She is drafting. Okay, max means she drafts a white die because the box is white that has the most potency. So she's going to draft this white mercury die. And then she's going to spend 2 potency and go up 1 step on every track. That's pretty good for her. Ooh, she's going to steal this ethereal die token bonus from me. Couldn't get up there fast enough. Unless I can still do it if I can do it this turn. I don't think I can. Harvest a mercury or recharge an artifact. No, there's no way I'm going to be able to do that. I will go ahead and recharge. I'll recharge that one. Even though I don't, although I will be taking advantage of this artifact very soon, maybe this turn, but first I have to draft a die. I have 3 chameleon tokens. Boy, those could come really really handy. They're not worth any points, so you might as well spend them when you can or need to. All right, for this experiment, I need ether and I need lead. This will get me some more lead and some more copper. So I need lead and tin, and the silver I can do by doing a transmutation. So I think I'm going to take lead, and it's going to be black. So it's going to be this die right here. And I will bump it up to potency 3. And I'm going to start by just harvesting 1 lead, because I'll plan to transmute that and get the benefit of this. And that's going to be a quick turn for me. So I'll turn it over to Trismegistus. She's using this card. And again, I can react. And I think I harvest a mercury or charge an artifact. I will go ahead and take a mercury so I can get the benefit of this at some point. So for my turn, we're going to go and do what I wanted to do, which is transmute lead and use the mercury to pay for the essence, which gets me another lead and now another refined copper. I will end my turn. She is going to go and draft a black, copper, or lead, neither of which are black. She can't get a black wild, so she's going to go with the most potency. So she'll decide to take a red wild and turn it into her first choice, which is copper. So she'll end up with a red copper, and then she'll buy an experiment, a copper experiment. Most likely, she's got fire, she's got water. She'll take this one. She needs 3 steps on the earth track, which she has. She'll complete it immediately. I think I'm going to take an ether because I'm desperate. And now I've got 1 potency left. And I can use that to transmute into tin, getting me to step 3 of the fire track. And I still need to do this transmutation. I'm essentially done. She's got 2 turns left. Because she's a 2 potency, and she's either one of these cards is spending 1 potency. So I'm thinking I should go ahead and use this to get 2 more activations and reactions on her. I think so. Okay, her turn. Spends 1 potency to go 2 steps up, I think, on the water track. Now I'm going to take an ether. It's her turn, last turn of the round. And now, do I acquire another ether, or do I transmute? Oh, finally transmute on the red arrow, which is this guy. I think I'm going to do that. Oh, and that's going to get me my huge jump on the fire track. So yes, the question is, do I go down on the fire track, or I want to go up on the earth track. Do I go down on the fire track or on the water track? I think the fire track. Or do I go 1 step down on the air track, because it's easy enough for me. It'll be easy enough for me to get this guy back up to the top again. Because I'll always have a source of mercury, I would think. Let's step back on the air track, because I'm planning to get that back up. But for now, I want to go up on the earth track. So now I can complete this experiment. Oh, and now the round is over, and I get to go first. But the first thing I'm going to do is complete this experiment. I pay out a lot, but I get a lot back. Then I get to take one of these formula tiles. I think it's going to be the essence one, because that's what I'm desperate for. And now, if I go here, I complete a row and a column. I'm going to end up wasting these reaction tokens. Okay, I gain a gold. I gain a mercury. I gain 1 of any. Let's get a step up on the water track. A fire track step. 1 of any essence. Do I want mercury at this point? No, because I'm not sure which one I want. Let's take a salt, I guess, because I really want to get up on all 3 of those tracks if I possibly can, and really make use of this. So let's go up on this. Let's take salt. And then this one I can't make use of. And now I'm drafting a die, which is going to be a wild die, I think. Yeah, let's take a red wild, and I'll turn it into iron. So I get flexibility on essence. And yes, I will bump it up to potency, 5? Yep. Now, I'm going to really be smart here. Oh, I didn't even look at the new set of artifacts that came out. Choose 3. Oh, gosh, that's so good. Oh, I almost want to grab that. That looks so good. This one, no, I don't need this. The step up on the air track doesn't really do much for me. Again, the step up on the air track doesn't help me. 3 times exchange any essence. I don't have essences. 3 steps up on the on a red arrow, 3 free transmutations along a red arrow. That's a little limiting for what I have to do. Once per fire experiment you have, I only have 1, so that's not valuable. I really want this one. I am going to take this. It's going in slot 2 because I plan to transmute the lead, which gets me more lead and more refined copper, and I'll be able to do go across here. So it's going in that slot. Now I can activate it once for free. I can do 3 things. Isn't there 5 choices? Why do I only see 4? Advance your marker 1 step on any track. 1 wild transmutation. It didn't give me the... Oh, it didn't even show me the refresh reaction token because I can't use it. So it kind of saved me the trouble. I didn't think my program was that smart. Choose 3. I definitely need I need to work on keeping my essences up. I definitely want to advance on a track, and it's going to be the Earth track, which will get me another free bump, which I'll take on the Earth track. Now I'm at step 9. And now a wild transmutation, which I think is going to be that lead. Unless I do refined iron into silver to get the benefit of this. That's what I'm going to do. Wild transmutation, come on. Iron. Oh, I did have to go back up on the air track. Do I want to spend the mercury now? I think so. I want to stay on top of that. I don't want to forget. Resolve the artifact, because I have to go back a step, and I think I'm going down a step on the air track again to go 3 steps up on the Earth track to get to the top of that, which will get me another Earth symbol. Wow, that was a big turn. But what are you doing? She is using her, was this a personality card again? She also has these green specialist card. Oh, here's an example of one that she acquires, that she accumulates at the beginning of round 2 and at the beginning of round 3. So she actually has 2 of these in her deck somewhere, and one's right here at the time. But for the moment, is she behind me on the Earth track? She is, of course. So she's going 2 steps up on the Earth track. Oh, and she is taking that die, a black tin, which is what she wanted, and she couldn't get a black wild. To harvest a tin, to acquire a sulfur, to transmute a material along a black, or to recharge an artifact. I think I'm going to go ahead and transmute this lead into copper. And I'm going to, should I use the mercury again to get back the air track back up? I think so. Yes. Okay. What just happened? Oh, what just happened? It's her turn. Oh, that was just my reaction. Now it's my turn. Sorry. Thank God my computer program's keeping track of what's going on, because my mind is like brain burned right now. I think I'm going to make use of this again. So I think I'm just going to, what do I have? 2 essences, 2 potency left. I'm going to refresh this, and it's a red. So I'm going to refresh this once, and then I'll refine the iron and get the more bumps on the tracks. This is gonna get all my tracks to the top by the time I'm done, if I can pull this off. Although I'm running out of time. That's the end of my turn. But what are you doing? You're doing this card. You've got a die. You are spending all the potency and going 2 steps up on the fire track. Yeah, we are going to transmute now this copper into tin. Take advantage of that. We're going to go up on the fire track. That's the next one. I want to get to this bonus before she does, although I want to get to that bonus before she does, but she's got farther to go. Get 3 things. Definitely advance on the fire track. That's the track of choice right now. Sulfur is what? Good for which again? That's for the water track. This will get me more ethereal dye tokens. Wow, this is a tough choice. I think I want the sulfur. And then we'll take the wild transmutation, which is going to be iron into silver. Spending sulfur, going up on the water track. Let's go back a step on the air track, go up on the 4 steps up on the fire track because of the bonus. And now what do I want to do? I've got 1 essence remaining. I can use this guy to get more essences. And I can use this to get more essences. Okay. All right. So what is my dye? It's red. I can transmute this. Or should I recharge? I don't have any more iron. So let's transmute silver into gold. Yes. What was that? Sulfur that I just used? Yeah, which bumped me up on the water track. That's fine. Water is where I'm going right now. I've got, I'm almost there. Oh boy. Choose the first of 2 essences you want to gain. So I need sulfur. And I need an ether to get, no, I need a salt to get back to the top of the fire track. And I need a mercury at some point to get back to the top on the air track. Not back to the top of the fire track. I haven't quite made it to the top of the fire track. Oh, man. Such choice. But then I want to get this bonus too. I've got 1 sulfur. You know, I'm taking another sulfur for now. Okay, that ends my turn. That also ends my first die. You are recruiting, we're drafting a die. You are getting a red lead or a red iron. You're going to take a red wild and turn it into a lead. That was your first choice. Spend a potency, go up twice on the air track. She's getting there, but she's still not in point territory. Harvest a lead, acquire a salt. I could use the salt to get to the top of the fire track. Transmute along a red arrow. Not until I refresh this or recharge an artifact. What dye am I probably taking? I'm probably taking one of these. It's probably going to be red. I think I just want to refresh this. Okay. I wonder if I can pull off one more experiment too. I think I want the red mercury. I've got 3 chameleons. I can do anything I want. I'm taking red mercury. I've got plenty of ethereal dye tokens for at least the remainder of my dice. Plus I can get 1 more reaction here. I've got to remember, I got to get to the top of these 3 tracks and then work on the water track. I think I'm going to start by refreshing this artifact. I don't want to rush. I do have 2 sulfur standing by. I'm just going to refresh this for now. Her turn. She has a red die. She's spending 2 potency and buying an artifact. 4 artifacts left in the deck. I need the salt to get to the top. Yeah, I'll take the salt. Okay, now it's my turn. I want to get another experiment. The one that has the most points. This one's 14. Here's a 16 pointer. It doesn't give me anything else. But it's fire, which I have a discount of 2 discounts on. So I've got the lead. I've got one of the coppers. But I'll get more as soon as I do this transmutation. Man, so many balls in the air. Need to recharge this. I need to get iron. I need the raw materials. I think I need to do this transmutation. I need to get this guy here so I get 3 raw materials. So I'm going to transmute using salt to get to the top. Yes. And now I need sulfur, sulfur, sulfur. Sulfur and sulfur. And again, I'm holding off on using that. But now that I've got 3 gold, I will... Where might I need discounts? If I'm planning to get this card, can I still get another one? Iron and silver. Okay, that's pretty easy. 2 iron and 2 silver. And I need mercury anyway. And this is the last formula, and I could use the discount on green. This one's worth 10 points. 2 tin, which I'll have momentarily. An iron as soon as I get my mercury. A silver and a gold. Okay, so I think we're buying... Looks like this requires 2 lead, which I will have. No, I'm spending a lead. I'll only have 1 lead. Red I have a discount of 2 on. 2 lead, a mercury, an iron. This one's going to be tougher, I think. I think I wanted to take this, buy this guy, so I have a discount on one of these. Probably this. That's going to go in here. That's going to bring my 3 gold. Okay. Oh, complete a row and a column, so I get another reaction token. I wasted the 2 refreshes, of course. I get... refresh 2 of my reaction tokens, okay. 2 ethereal dye tokens, which are just worth points, and 3 raw materials. So if I wanted to work on this experiment, and I get a discount of 2 anyway, I could either easily get the tin. I need a refined iron, so I need a mercury, which I want to have for purposes of getting my air track back up to the top. So maybe I should get a second mercury. And an iron to convert into silver. Wow, okay. But max. Okay, wants white dye. Most potency. That's going to be this white mercury. Spend 2 potency, go up 1 on every track. She's still a step away from getting points there. Do I want a lead, a salt, or transmute along a red arrow? Yes, I want to transmute along a red arrow. Oh, I just want this refreshed. I think I want to recharge this first and then use my red. So I'm going to recharge that. Now I'm going to transmute that. But I also want to get this experiment. This is not my last die. I've got 2 dice still to go. So let's transmute this. Let's use the mercury to get back to the top of the air track. Yes. And again, sacrifice air to go 3 steps up on water. 4 steps up because of the bonus. Unless I just use it for the air track. I'll use the bonus for the air track. So I'm 3 steps away from getting all to the top of every one of the tracks. And I've got 2 dice left. This is the best. Oh man, that is the best artifact. In my turn, bot, you're drafting either a red mercury or a red tin. You're going to take a red mercury, spend 2 potency, take an experiment, a mercury experiment. You've got water. You don't have air, so you're going to take this one, which is what? Fewer points by a lot. But she prefers to have all the various. I think she's going to take that experiment, which is kind of foolish, but that's what she takes. No, she did take that one. I can harvest a mercury. I can transmute around a red or recharge. I want to recharge. I want to recharge this guy. How's my essence? I've got plenty of sulfur for the time being. I think I want to recharge that. And now I think I will. Should I get this experiment before I forget? It's about to go. No, it's not going anywhere. 2 silver, an iron. No, 2 tin, an iron, a silver, and a gold. I got a lot of transmuting to do. I'm going to hold off on that. But I know I need an iron, so I know I'm going to do this transmutation. Oh, it's got to be across a red arrow. Unless I use one of my chameleons, which I have so many of, I might as well. I'm getting a red transmutation from her, so let me... I could change my dye to iron and just harvest some iron. That makes sense. Let's do that. Let's use one of these chameleons to turn this into any colored iron dye. And let's harvest 1 iron. Oh, I've got 1 potency left. I want to save that. So that 1 iron is going to be it. I'm going to end my turn. She's just, I don't know what she did, but I can react by now transmuting the iron into silver and getting this benefit again. And I will use, at this point, I'll use sulfur to get a step up on the water track and then resolve the artifact by going back a step and then 3 steps up and I'll be at the top of the track. So I'll go a step back on the water track and 3 steps up on the water track and I'm where I want to be. And I think the artifact lets me do that. Yeah, there is no rule that says I can't go up on the same track I went down on. So I've made it to the top of all 4 tracks. Now, do I focus on one more experiment? There's a 16er over here. I got 2 discounts on fire. I got lots of discounts. What do I have so far? I'm pretty soon going to have 2. I'm going to have the 2 copper that I need. She's done? Oh boy. So I think I'm going for the 16-pointer. And I've got a red die, so I might as well grab this right now. I just got to make sure I don't waste what I need. I need to transmute. I need 1 transmutation to get this and get that. I'll need a mercury and I've got the silver. I'll get the discount. I'm taking this experiment. I just need to use a chameleon to turn it into a tin. Which are you, tin? Tin is this guy. Yep. And now I'm taking that experiment, the most valuable one on the board. Okay, last die. So I'm done reacting. Choose the die that you want to draft. Oh, and there are no more red dice. But I need a black transmutation. I think that's pretty, yeah. So let's take a black copper. I don't think it matters. Might as well. Just in case I made a mistake in my calculations. First is going to be this. Now, when you're at the top of a track and you advance on the track, you get 1 point. So I will use the sulfur and get a point. And now resolve the artifact, which gets me a lead and a copper and allows me to complete the experiment, which is 16 points. I wonder if it was worthwhile. Okay, well, I'm going to get 2 more ethereal die tokens here. What do I have? I've got 2 potency left. This is not bad either. And I've got, yeah, so I'm going to, if I recharge this, then I'll just transmute copper into tin and take advantage of this, get a free transmutation to activate that. So let's recharge that. And now I've got 1 potency left to transmute copper into tin. Again, for a point. Yes. I get to choose 3. I am taking, oh, I do get points for leftover, I do get points for refined materials, right? So I get to choose 3. I don't get points for essences, and I only have 1 transmutation left. I get points for raw, but 1 raw doesn't do me any good. Advanced step on any 1 track is a point. Perform with a wild transmutation. Let's get that out of the way. It's going to be that using sulfur, which is another point. And 2 more ethereal dice are 2 more points. And then sulfur doesn't give me points, and the raw mercury gives me a half a point, which rounds down, so it doesn't matter. I'll take the raw mercury. And that's it. I think I did pretty darn well. A lot better than I expected. You get most of your points from the end of the game, and the computer's about to calculate it. I think I hope I broke 100. 131, I get to 50. Oh, I did way better than I expected. Experiments, 49 points if I go through all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 experiments that I completed. I want to make sure my program's working. 7, 7 is 14. That's 30, 33, 49. 49 points. 10 points from publications. I was able to complete both of them. This one needed 2 air and a fire. I had 3 air. This one needed 1 of each. I should have gotten more publications along the way, and I didn't, unfortunately. This one was worth 6 points, and this one was worth 4 points. So that's 10 points in publications. Formulas for having 7 tiles, you get 36 points. 2 tiles get you 1, 3 tiles get you 4, 9, and so forth. So all 7 get you 36. I had no gold in the end. That's worth a point. But I had 4 ethereal die tokens worth a point each. That's 4. And all 4 tracks, 7 points a track, is 28 points. So my final score was 131. The bot scores differently. She scores on her experiments. So she scored 4 there, 7 there, that's 11, 8 there, that's 19, 32. For tracks, she didn't make it to any track. Now that makes me wonder, is she that bad? Or is my program not working quite right? If you're watching this and you think my program made a wrong choice somewhere, please tell me. But it seems like she didn't do anywhere near as well as I thought she would. Artifact symbols. So she basically gets 3 points for each symbol. That's 1, 2, and 2 there is 4. That's 12 points. Ethereal dive token, she had none left. She had no gold. She gets 2 formulas. So she basically, she pays gold, I think, to, how does she calculate her formulas? I think by considering, what does she get? One for each type of experiment she has. Oh, gosh, she only has 2 types of experiments. And she tries to get a masterpiece. She did draw some masterpiece experiments, but she wasn't anywhere near high enough on the tracks to fulfill them. So anyway, she was only, basically 2 different types of experiments. She took that blue one. I don't know. I wonder if I made a mistake when she took experiments. But 2 different types of experiments is basically equivalent to 1 formula tile. So she gets 1 point. 2 formula tiles. So she gets 1 point for that. So at least I added up the points correctly. I don't know. I think that's pretty good for a beginner. So I'm surprised. Maybe I'm better at this game than I thought I would be. Honest, I have never played this before. I just played it by testing. No major bugs. There you have it. Hope you enjoyed this. Sorry if it ran longer than I expected, but it accomplished what I set out to, and I hope it gave you a feel for the game. For those of you who are not familiar, and for those of you who are, let me know if I could have done better, or if I screwed up somewhere along the way, or if my program's not working the way it should. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Bye.